The Zambian government has placed agriculture, mining, tourism and manufacturing sectors as the country's focus. According to the 8th National Development Plan, this is in an effort to attain economic transformation marked by advancements in industrialization and economic diversification for sustained growth driven by the 4 sectors, with agriculture being one key driver for the country's economic transformation and growth. The sector provides livelihoods to more than 70% of the population in Zambia. Over the years, crop and livestock production has generally been low as a result of a number of factors such as adverse effects of climate change, high cost of inputs, unaffordable finance, inadequate irrigation and other agricultural support infrastructure, and inadequate mechanization. The 2024-2025 proposed budget looks at ways to unlock the potential of the agriculture sector, like the establishment of an agriculture credit window. This is aimed at supporting small-scale farmers, emergent farmers, and public service workers with affordable financing to procure inputs, equipment, and irrigation systems, among others. Other measures to incentivize the agriculture sector and being implemented by the Zambia Revenue Authority includes the zero rating of agricultural equipment such as tractors.
If you are into farming, yes, there are incentives on tractors of up to 90 horsepower. So you can import a tractor, you will not pay customs duty, you will not pay VAT, because even VAT is zero rated. So that is to encourage all age groups, all players that are interested into farming, to go into farming, import machinery. Remember, you have to mechanize, your farm. We are moving from what, for lack of a better term, what one can call the Stone Age into the mechanized, industrialized type of farming. So you can import, agriculture equipment, including, things, inputs such as plows, irrigation systems, sprayers as well. So this is to ensure that we diversify our economy from mining to, agriculture. So when we have a lot of economic players, and the good part is that over the past 5 to 10 years, a lot of people have been going into farming, be it poultry, be it the mainstream farming, be it dairy farming. A lot of people are going into farming either as a retirement, package where one wants to say, okay, when I retire, I want to focus on farming, or into commercial. The good part about farming is that you might take it as something that, part-time. But with these incentives, it provides now leverage for one to go commercial. And the moment you go commercial, then some of these problems that we are talking about will be a thing of the past, okay? When you look at across the country, maize and mealie meal are fetching at a high price. A lot of people have gone commercial selling maize and mealie meal, okay? So how about encouraging a lot of Zambians to go into farming so that we have enough food as a country, but at the same time, people can go commercial, start exporting, maize, start exporting mealie meal, and earn an income at the end of the day. So there are these incentives that we do have to provide and to encourage, more people to go into farming, but also as a tax relief. You will find that for income tax, those that are into say mining and any other type of business, for income tax, they are taxed at 30%. But for you who is in farming, you'll be taxed at 10%. So these are some of the tax incentives that have been provided, for those that are in agriculture. We are happy to mention that the Zambia Revenue Authority, through the government through the Zambia Revenue Authority, does provide a number of tax incentives. And the reason basically is to ensure that there's a tax relief on the people, on our players in the small and the ones that we call small, medium, and the small and medium enterprises, to ensure that there is sustainability over a period of time. Even the tax bans in terms of taxation are also structured in such a way that there is a relief on the small and medium.
With agriculture being the key economic driver in Southern Province, tax incentives have had a positive impact on the farmers.
I would like to thank the new Dawn administration under the able leadership of His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema for managing tax issues in this manner, which has benefited the locals so much in a quest to change, of course, in the positive, the livelihoods of our people in the district. We really thank the government. Under this program, people have benefited so much. Under current situation in terms of tax issues, a farmer can go outside the country to procure any agricultural equipment, starting from a tractor, a plow, a planter, mention it. It's duty-free. And farmers in Mazabuga district have taken advantage of that window, especially at a time when we are experiencing droughts due to climate change, which is there globally. Mazabuga district has not been spared. And we are busy preaching under Ministry of Agriculture to say farmers should stop their old agricultural methods of using livestock. They should go mechanization now. And to that effect, farmers have resorted to buying agricultural equipment. And there is this leeway that a farmer can procure agricultural equipment without paying any duty, any tax. We really appreciate, as Mazabuga people, Mazabuga big community, and that applies not only to the small farmers or the peasant farmers, even the commercial farmers. They are really appreciating this initiative done by government.
Recommendations are also being made to the Zambia Revenue Authority to zero rate on the importation of milk bulk tanks and cans.
On behalf of the farmers here, as government, we should consider subsidizing all construction materials for dipping tanks, spray races, mention them, so that we have more of such facilities in the district, which we don't have as of now, meaning that once we have more of such facilities, dipping facilities, that is, we shall be able to control all, if not all, most of the tick-borne diseases. And as a result, we shall reduce on issues of vaccination against East Coast fever. This will be a one-off payment, You construct more deep tanks, spray races, reduce on tick-borne diseases. Even the issues of dengue will be further reduced.
Most, if not all, the agriculture equipment, agriculture imports that are imported are not subjected to the excise duty. So they are zero rated, that much we know. Of course, I think very little information is available to the farmers. They just know the price of a tractor, a plow, irrigation equipment. That is the price. But they don't know that that price actually could have been much more if duty was subjected to duty. So that information is really not available. I think because there's the agriculture, the zero rating of agriculture equipment and inputs has been around for some time. So people have gotten used that this is the price. So definitely there is need for for sensitizing the farmers to appreciate that, look, I think government is supporting you with the cost of input so that you can engage into production, increase the production.
Some farmers provide insights of tax incentives and how they are helping in reducing the cost of doing business.
The incentive is good in a way that the equipments are coming into the country without any taxes on the border. That makes it somehow a bit cheaper and affordable for the farmer, in the sense that he's not going to pay part of that money which he could have used to pay, which he can now maybe plow elsewhere into other activities. I would say the incentive is good, and I would encourage the government that it continues with such incentives. They really are encouraging the farmers.
Goods that have been zero-rated under the agriculture sector include tractors used in agriculture and horticulture irrigation systems, and plows which have zero customs and value-added tax.
Incentives, as the word entails, I think is a motivating factor that drives someone to go into something or doing something. So in the same vein, incentives, I think, in the various sectors of the economy are put there because there is something that government wants to achieve in those areas. So we can talk of areas like in farming, what is the drive that is there. We can talk of areas like manufacturing. We can talk of areas like mining. We can talk of areas like tourism. So mainly, I think those are the major sectors of the economy. And so each of them, I think, is handled differently depending on the direction that the government wants to take at a particular time.
In Livingstone's Ngwenya area is the Lulamba Quarries, an open-pit mining activity which is the only commercial stone crushing business in Southern Province. The quarry mine, which is owned by Brian Mulongo, started operating in 2017, and he now shares how the tax incentives are helping artisanal miners.
We are the only guys that are doing the crushing of stones in Livingstone and in Southern Province currently. Got challenges, business is guaranteed, but we need a lot of help from the government. Being a developing mine, I would love to appeal to the government if they can waive taxes where we trying to get as much needed capital as we would want to have. Then we know we can manage to buy the much needed equipment for the mining in terms of the crushing plant, the earth moving equipment, as well as employing a lot more workers that can come and run those equipment. So if the taxes can be waived on the mining activities for artisanals, it will increase their working capital, thereby promoting growth. I think if the government can look at those in those areas, I think it can really help, because these artisanal mining licenses, or rather small businesses, they are instrumental into engaging other people. We're talking of employment levels. They will really help the government in that area as well.
Lulamba Quarries, as a small-scale mining company, has been enjoying the 4% turnover tax. The mine has potential to grow and employ more people once fully mechanized.
We are on turnover tax. We pay 4% to the government on whatever income that we get. But our appeal to the government could be that if we manage, for example, to buy any equipment that we need for smooth running of the mine, would love the government to help us waive that tax so that we don't pay any tax whatsoever, because that money that we should give to ZRA, it will help us run the operations. As small-scale miners, we are really lacking, working capital. We need oils and diesels to run the equipment every day. We've got consumables that needs to be changed almost every other time. So we need that working capital to revolve around. Then at the end of the day, we have to look at energy costs in terms of electricity as well as salaries. Like where we are here, we've got 29 permanent employees. Then depending on the demand, we even increase the numbers to 50, 58, 60 plus, depending on the demand that we have and the orders.
In the tourism industry, government has responded by the abolishment of retention fees through the Statutory Instrument number 23 of 2023 and the Statutory Instrument number 24 of 2023, meant to reduce the cost of doing business in the tourism sector and lessen the regulatory burden on businesses.
We commend the government of the Republic of Zambia through His Excellency, the President Hakainde Hichilema, who wants to make sure that there is doing of business in the tourism sector. And some of the reforms that have been made in the tourism sector in terms of reducing business is the SI number 23 under the hospitality and accommodation facility, where tour operators, the accommodation establishment, the hotels, the lodges, those that want to buy vehicles or equipment, they can use that SI to access this capital equipment. And then this year, through our Minister of Tourism, there has been an abolishment of the retention fee. The 6,000 that was supposed to be paid over the subsequent 2 months of renewal of their licenses. This has been abolished. And again, we commend government for reducing these rates, in the sense that at least our tour operators will have a breather, will have a relief in terms of the amount of money that they were paying. So this is a great plus for the industry, because now the cost of doing business will be reduced.
Operators of tourism enterprises, with the exception of casino operators, are no longer required to pay annual retention fees effective 9th July 2023. The tax incentives in the tourism industry have elated stakeholders in the sector who cite incentives such as capital equipment as a boost to turning around the tourism business.
Tourism is a very competitive industry, and post-COVID the emphasis has actually been on investment and reinvestment, obviously bringing back the basic minimum standards and also aiming for the highest standards possible, because we're looking at regional competition, international competition. The government came up with measures of putting a halt to duty or suspending duty to some of the capital expenses, such as equipment that will be necessary for setting up of these hotels and lodges. We're talking about restaurants. We're also looking at the importation of motor vehicles that are specific for the tourism industry. These are some of the very necessary incentives that the industry still needs to take full advantage of. We have already slowly already taking advantage of that, because we need to have the best of the best services being given to the client. And for example, Zambia is a world-class destination. It is host to one of the 7 wonders of the world, so we cannot be speaking in terms of the lowest standards. We are aiming for the highest standard.
Green Safari was founded in 2015, and the provision of tax incentives by government in the tourism sector is just part of the efforts to generate and deploy community project funding to support local community development, wildlife conservation, and ecosystem preservation. The tax incentives by government are keeping businesses moving in the tourism industry. On a daily basis, tourists are treated to different packages offered by Green Safari, from the launch site to the Livingstone Island, where people enjoy an experience of the Devil's Pool.
Looking at the tax incentives that have been given in the tourism industry, as Green Safaris, we have benefited on some of these incentives, and the first that I'll talk about is the tax amnesty. So we've actually benefited quite a lot on the amnesty period that was provided by the revenue authorities. And we've also benefited on the capital allowances on plant and machinery. So we are enjoying a 50% capital allowance on all of our plant and machinery that we are acquiring for the organization. We need to learn and understand more so as to know what we qualify for, what we do not qualify for, and that goes also to vehicles in the tourism industry. So we need to learn a little more from the authorities so that we understand what we actually can benefit from.
The Zambian tax system offers several tax incentives through the Zambia Revenue Authority. It is also important that small and medium enterprises take advantage of the incentives provided through a number of empowerment programs such as Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, Women Empowerment, the Constituency Development Fund, and Youth Empowerment.